first, I've really come to say congratulations to Cesar Chavez Public Charter School, to National Cathedral School, and to St. John's College High School. You are champions, and I like being in the room with champions. And particularly do I like being in the room with champions for a program such as this program. We the People is actually funded by the Congress of the United States. We actually give some money to something good every once in a while. Thus, when I got the invitation to sign your certificates, I couldn't have been more honored or more pleased, and I'm very pleased by what the rigors you've gone through to become champions about congressional hearings. Now, I chair a subcommittee of the Congress, so I have hearings. I had some children from Bancroft Elementary School to come down today who I was able to take onto the House floor. But while they were waiting for me to come, they were sitting in one of the committee rooms. They were sitting in the same chairs that members of Congress sit in. So I told them, okay, you on that side, you're the Republicans, and you on this side, you're the Democrats. You're the good guys. No. Absolutely not. We are very nonpartisan, but you know who I am. But the point of this program, of course, is that what you've been about and what you've been studying is at the very root of being an American. Whatever your party and whatever your affiliation. Just as last night when I sat in the chamber to hear the President give the State of the Union speech, he was speaking to everybody in the chamber, to the Senate who came over to our house, because we have the bigger chamber, to the Supreme Court who sat there, to the diplomatic corps, and to the Democrats and Republicans. And as I said to the press who asked me, and to the elephant in the room, which were the independents of the largest party in the United States, as a matter of fact. And you see that though he had his own agenda, he tried to reach out with items really for everybody, and that's the only way you can govern, and we found that out with our large majorities, and we can't even get health care for the American people. Something's wrong with that, but we refuse to say it must be wrong only with the Republicans. So one of the things we're doing is being self-critical. What do we have to do as legislators to get done what we think the American people want? When you represent people who are second per capita in taxes paid to support the government of the United States, when you represent people whose, a city whose residents have fought and died in every war, including the war that created the United States of America, you sort of think you ought to have the same rights as everybody else. Well, that's going to be left to your generation. My generation was a civil rights generation, and I went south and we wanted to get the vote for everybody, and we got the vote for everybody except the District of Columbia. Ours was a little different cut on the vote. It wasn't the cut of denial as in the South because of race. It's denial because of where you were born and where you live. In the capital of the United States, uniquely, you don't have the vote. So when we, the people, strives to engage middle and high school students in the sinews, the very roots of what our government is all about, that is something I support with all my heart. And I realize that you haven't gotten here easily, that yes, there was, just like there's a process that I, as a member of Congress, have to go through. You had to go through a process. You know, like if I want to be elected, I better go through a process called, you know, maybe there's a primary, maybe then you got to go out and meet the people, and then there's a time to vote. I can't hop over that process. Well, you couldn't hop over the process either because there were a number of schools competing. So I'm very proud of what your achievement today represents. I think you are fully prepared to be citizens of the District of Columbia, not just the United States of America. There is not a real difference except in the way you are treated. When I grew up, I was raised in this town, a third-generation Washingtonian. And part of how I was raised may have a lot to do with the outrage I feel whenever treated as a second-class citizen. I'm born and raised in the District of Columbia. So was my father. So was my grandfather, who entered the D.C. Fire Department in 1902. And his father, Richard Holmes, was a slave that walked off of a plantation in Virginia, and that's how the Holmes family got here. He walked away from second-class citizenship into another kind of second-class citizenship, residency in the District of Columbia. But look where we've come. We don't have our full rights. We have somebody over there to speak up for you, your so-called delegate. You have a administration that must pay attention to you because of the Bill of Rights applies to all people, yeah, even people in the District of Columbia. We have much legislation, indeed every piece of legislation I can think of applies to the District of Columbia except the right to vote in the House and the Senate. But if you think how ridiculous, as you should, that is, just think about what it was like when I was a kid growing up and going to Bruce Monroe Elementary School, Banneker, when it was a junior high school and Dunbar High School. Well, there wasn't any mayor or city council. You want to talk about democracy? What about having a nation's capital run by 3 men appointed by, I guess, the President of the United States? Look up the word colony, and you will understand what it means to grow up in city, which was segregated, where you had nobody to run to say, I want this change, where there was no mayor and no city council. So I got to think about progress in those scopes. I can't moan and groan. I look at where our city was, and I look at how we got to where we are today and how we're going to get to where we're going to be tomorrow. Second-class citizenship is not a word that today means color. It means if you are not equal to every other citizen, and I am looking at a group of second-class citizens. I denominate you all second-class citizens. That's what you are, unless you decide to do something about it. The way to do something about it is, first of all, to do what, these are the badges? What this indicates, that you've learned something about your country and what it stands for. And the second way to do something about it is to find a way to do something about it. If you have even a tiny bit of that outrage, consider that everybody who lives in this city has a right to have that outrage, and try to find some way to do something about it. I mentioned DC Vote. There are, I'm sure, a dozen other ways to do something about it. All I ask of you this afternoon is that you crown your achievement today, and I regard it as a genuine achievement of which you should be genuinely proud, that you crown it by not leaving it on the table or in your head with what you've learned, but taking it and insisting that you be the last generation of second-class citizens in the District of Columbia. Thank you very much for what you've done.